Hey, welcome to the Hive With Us podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Martinez. Today we have Agosto Pintus. Pintus. I say it in Spanish. He's Italian. I guess it's the Spanish side of me talking. I did it twice today already. That's funny. All right. What are you doing today, Agosto? Yeah, Agostino.
Yeah, Agostino. Yeah. How you doing, Danielle? Doing all right?
I'm good, man. My Spanish just comes out.
I know.
Man, what part of the country we calling from today?
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, right now. That's where I am. Yeah. Doing deals, singing deals, and trying to make some stuff happen.
A lot of people like Cleveland because it's a cash flow market.
It is exactly what it is. It's a cash flow market, and that to me is where you want to be. I avoid appreciating markets like places like New York and California. I mean, you avoid it because it's just a terrible place to invest, in my opinion, because it's so tenant friendly. But yeah, cash flow markets are what matter, especially when we're in an economy like we are today, right? It makes total sense. Yeah.
So you're a commercial investor. How long have you been doing commercial?
Wow, I've been doing commercial for about 5 or 6 years at this point. I started doing like resi a long time ago, like almost 20 years ago. Started doing like small multifamily and single family stuff, and took a pause in 2008 to focus on career and stuff. But then I reignited everything all over again and started just buying multifamily like crazy, like workforce housing stuff. Started buying that stuff like crazy. So now we do that, we do development, and we do net lease. So, and of course we have our education business as well. But when it comes to acquisition, those are the three things we focus on.
There you go. How do you feel about residential? Because I know we talked about this off camera, but I want to ask you on camera. How do you feel about your residential assets?
It's they're in my opinion, there's a higher level of risk involved in single family, believe it or not, right? Why would I say something like that? Well, the more units you get, the lower the risk overall is. If you're the only one owning everything, all right? It's just multifamily. The reason why people get into multifamily is because you have more units under the same roof. Well, if you have single family, you have 100 roofs, for instance, right? But if you're in a time like we are right now, and some of these tenants stop paying, and it's like that happens a lot more frequently in single family than you think it does, especially in that C-class range, right?
Yeah.
The last thing you want to be doing is be stuck with 50% of your portfolio not paying, and you're leveraged at 90%. Like now you're screwed, right? So that's the last thing you want to do. So that's the thing with single family. Yes, it's especially here in Cleveland, it's air quotes cheap. Yes, it is cheap, but what are you getting for that cheapness, right? You have to buy a lot of them. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. You have to buy a lot of them to offset that risk.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near a house guy. I spoke on stage last week or 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I've only done one house deal, and I can say that confidently.
Yeah, I've done a lot of them. I mean, I'm certainly no.
This show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings, and of course to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at HiveMindCRM.io.
I'm not doing 500 houses a week or whatever, right? I've done quite a few, and I can tell you that, yeah, I mean, it's good when it's good, but when it's bad, it's bad. So that's why it's like you want to make sure you have enough down payment in the deal that you can still pull equity out if you had to, or refinance them, or whatever the case may be, or buy a lot of them. So that way the people that aren't paying are offset by the people that are. So you can at least cover the note, right? You're treating it as one big portfolio. So it's a different methodology when it comes to management.
100%, 100%. I want to pivot a little bit to commercial, and you said you do a lot of stuff with land and stuff like that. But how do people get started in commercial? Because I think a lot of people, they think it's too big of an asset class, and they might not have experience with it, or they might want to venture to it, but they don't necessarily want to start there. Like, what advice do you have somebody that wants to like maybe start in commercial? You have any advice for them?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll tell you what, it's not like what the gurus say on Facebook. All right. The gurus will say that the gurus are trying to shake you down for 25K. That's what they're trying to do. Right.
Yeah.
And they'll be, oh no, it's easy. It's a piece of cake. Anybody could do it. No. Calm down. It's not. Right. Once you have experience, yes, it becomes easy. But when you're starting from that 0 to 1, is very, very tough, because you really have to build the momentum to get there. So how do you do that?
Yep.
You have to get the knowledge, and you have to be around the right people. It's those two things, right? Getting the knowledge, like, okay, there's an ebook I have, guide-to-brokers.com. Go there, download the ebook, totally free, right? And it talks about meeting the brokers, talking to the brokers, getting in front of the people that have the deals. The brokers have the deals. You don't want to go to LoopNet. LoopNet is where deals go to die, right? LoopNet's a great place to learn how to underwrite deals. That's it, right? But if you can get in front of the brokers, then you can build a rapport with them. And hopefully one day in the future, you're able to get access to some of the deals they have in their back pocket, right? It's not going to happen overnight, though. It doesn't work that way. The brokers, if they get a deal, they're going to give it first to the inner circle, the next circle. If these people in the middle don't want to do the deal, then it goes out. And if none of those people end up with it, then it ends up on LoopNet. So it goes through like 3 or 4 different levels of people actually look at the deal before it ends up in the trash heap of LoopNet, right? I know I'm beating the hell out of LoopNet. I'm not like, it's like I have anything against those guys. I'm just saying, like, you want to try to get the deals directly from the brokers. We also have another ebook, Guide to Capital. .com. You can learn how to raise money there, but first you have to get to know the brokers. You have to also get to know the property managers too. Like, pick a property manager, right? Get to know a property management company that you like them, and you trust them, and tell them what your vision is for the business that you're trying to build. Because essentially you're building a business. Like, real estate is not just, just go buy real estate. It's not that. It's a business. It's like any other business. If you're going to start an e-com business, you're going to start an ice cream shop, or you can do real estate. All 3 of them are businesses. They are, right? And you have to go, and when you go talk to the broker, you have to tell them, yes, I have so-and-so. Gary is my property manager. Oh yeah. And the broker will say, oh, I know Gary. Gary's a good guy. If you're working with Gary, that means you're a good guy too. So you pick a good property management group that is in the city, very, very active, and they have a good name behind them. Don't go with some out-of-state clowns or anything else like that. They're just clowns. Go with someone local to the market that you're trying to go buy in, right? It's very, very important. And then getting around the right people. Like, I cannot stress this part enough, man. It's people often lead with me, Daniel. I'm the most important guy here, Daniel. Where what I should be doing is, Daniel, what do you need? What sort of problems do you have in your life, and how can I help you solve them? If you lead with delivering value first, the chances of you getting in Daniel's inner circle, for instance, goes that much greater, right? So someone comes to me and just, hey, look, I found this amazing deal. I already underwrote it for you. If I'll even help you raise the money for it, I'll cut you in for 10%. It's like, if I'm not doing anything but minimal, but bringing my balance sheet to the deal, and you're doing all the work, but you just want to get my name on it and build a rapport, why not do it? Yeah. Don't get greedy. It's deal number 1 of what could be hundreds, right?
Yep.
That's really what it comes down to, is delivering value to someone that can change your life. That's what it is, man. It's not that hard. It is hard if you don't know what you're doing, right? And I learned the hard way, of course. And now that I know how to do it, I help other people get into this game too. So
most of us learn the hard way.
Yeah, most of us do learn the hard way. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not recommending it. I don't recommend it.
you lose a few $1 million on the way up.
Yeah, that's right.
One thing I really want to dig in on is that one thing I really love is it's about it's less about the deal, less about the money. It's more about the connections you make to buy the asset. And then one thing I really want to hone in on is that dealing with people locally. One thing I've noticed is that when you get into a higher level game, there's less people up there. And I'm 100% going to agree with you. And I really want to point that out, is that people in the local market know everybody that operates in that sector in the local market. That was huge.
That's it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, especially in a place like Cleveland. Cleveland's not certainly not New York City or not Miami or anything else like that. But everyone around here knows everyone else, right? And I imagine even in a place like Los Angeles or New York, if you're a player, people know who the players are. Doesn't matter how big the city is, right? The players always stick out, right? So you want to try to help out one of those players. Now, you may not have access to those sorts of people, and that's okay. I think part of it is even if you connect with an up and comer that is doing great things, making great things happen, and you find a way to deliver value to that individual, it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's great. So that's really what it comes down to, man. It really is.
So let's talk about a little bit of what you're kind of doing now. As far as you said we spoke off camera for everybody here listening, but we talked about like you're looking for Dollar Generals and those single net lease properties.
Yeah.
Are you buying the leases? Are you buying the ground leases? Are you buying the land and creating the leases? Like, what's your strategy on that?
Sure.
Are you buying at?
No, so yeah, we have a blind pool, right? So we're raising money from investors, and they put the money into the deal, into this fund. And when we do that, we tell the investors, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Investor, we're looking for dollar stores, or we're looking for pet stores, or we're looking for pharmacies, or whatever the case may be. It's usually, and we define what it is that we're looking for. All of them have a corporate guarantee or a franchise guarantee. All of them are in good areas. We have certain return targets that we have to meet too, right? And the cool thing about it is when we're buying the asset, we buy the land, the building, and the lease.
Yep.
Right? So we buy the whole kit and caboodle, right? And we own the whole thing. And the cool thing is that for the investor, they're earning a nice solid monthly return. So it's because it's so predictable, because Dollar General pays their rent on time, every time, down, like it's like clockwork. We know when the money's coming in. We also know we can deliver a check to the investors. The cool thing about it though is then we don't just buy one store, or two stores, or three stores, or whatever. We're buying like 10, 15, 20 of these stores in a single fund, right? 20 of these locations. So let's say, for instance, this Dollar General decides they're going to close the store up, whatever. Well, if they close the store early before the lease is up, they're still paying no matter what. All right. But let's say it goes dark for whatever reason. Well, the rest of the fund is still putting money into your pocket because they're all producing money, right? Yep. All of them. They're a different timing, right? Meanwhile, this one that goes dark, we either sell it off or we go ahead and put another tenant in there, re-tenant it, right? But the cool thing about the fund model is that where you have redundancy within the fund itself,
yep,
and you get a nice steady return. Are you going to become a billionaire off of it? No, you're not. It's not going to happen. It won't, right? I just saw some PPM I got earlier today. It's like 25% IRR. And it's like a bunch of nonsense. It's so stupid, right? No, you're not going to get that here. Right? This doesn't do that. This is good if you're investing in a bunch of stuff, but you still want nice, steady, reasonable returns, a risk-adjusted return. Very, very low risk, but you know what? You can count on that money showing up no matter what happens. That's the cool thing about it.
Yeah.
That's why we like those deals.
How long did you create your first fund?
You mean for this net lease stuff? Yeah. So we only did the first one 2 years ago, right? So it's fairly recent. But I have a friend of mine who's been doing it for about 7 years. So we basically learned the ropes from him and invested with him and got to know how to put all this stuff together. So we've been at this for a while. We just set up our first one on our own without him. So yeah. So it's but it's because of my background is tech. Before I did real estate, I was doing IT and technology and running large tech groups. There's a heavy technical bend in all of our business, including the net lease business. So we use quite a bit of high technology to identify good opportunities, to underwrite deals, to underwrite tenants, and even to analyze deals too, which is a big part of it. That's where the money's made, analyzing the deal. That's where the money's always made.
Are those like triple nets or double nets, or what type of leases are they normally?
It depends. Yeah, it depends. It's funny you mentioned that, because a lot of these guys will talk about, oh, it's triple net lease, everybody's triple net lease. Yeah, there was a time when all of them were all triple net lease. There's a time in history when everything was triple net. However, someone will refer to something, a Dollar General, as triple net, because that's how people know it in their brain as triple net. However, the lease determines what the nets are, right? The taxes, the insurance, and the maintenance, right?
Yeah. And
the lease will determine. Sometimes they'll say triple net or double net. Then you look at the lease and it's none of those things. It's one net, or it's like there's deals I've looked at that there's no increases. I mean, that's not really part of the nets, but it's like you really have to go into the lease. Defines everything. The lease is where it all matters, right? It's the lease. The lease will define, like I said, what the nets are, who's responsible for what, and that's really what your underwriting starts at, is what it says in the lease.
That's so funny. So you're buying when lease is already in place, and I think this is the funniest thing too, is that a lot of people don't know what to ask to put in the lease. So when they're trying to sell it, they think they can get this certain valuation, but after and this is where like the Dollar Generals, they've been in the lease game forever, so they know how to stick it to that new person that doesn't know what they're doing, and they will do it, and they'll devalue your lease, and then you come around and like, hey, this isn't a triple net, this isn't even a double net, this is where my price is because this is a single net.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, negotiating these leases is these. So here's the thing. I mean, you really have to know what you're doing. Can anybody go out there and buy a net lease, buy Dollar General? Sure, absolutely. They can. Yeah, anybody can, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The guys at DG or Dollar Tree or CVS or whatever, they have an army of attorneys. Yep. And all they do all day long is negotiate leases. That is what they do all day, every day. And here you come with your one location and you're suddenly going to negotiate a deal, right? I'm not saying you can't do it, but at the same time too, do you really want to go up against guys like that? With like that, all they do all day is negotiate stuff. Like we negotiate stuff all day long with a variety of different deals that we're working on. Like it's not just in that lease business. We do commercial deals, we do development deals, we do stuff like that, right? So that's what we do, and you have a certain level of expertise. And when you figure out net the overall return of buying your own asset versus having a level of redundancy across multiple assets for the same amount of money you're putting into the deal, it's kind of like, why would anybody want to mess with that? It doesn't make any sense when you think about it, right? We got the resources to go and negotiate these types of deals with these players that are not wimps. They are not pushovers, and they want things the way they want them, and you have to be able to negotiate that.
It's so funny. One thing we're delving a little bit into the front side of it. We have a 15-acre property commercial, and Lowe's is interested in it.
Yeah.
Lowe's is interested in like 10 acres. So we're trying to get them to either buy the 10 acres or buy the 15, all of it, and have them deal with whatever they want to deal with it. But this is one thing where they want to acquire all of it and not do a lease. So we're talking to our commercial mentor, and she's like, you have either A, don't negotiate the leases yourself, A, find that person that negotiated with them last.
That's right. And it's usually a law firm, right? You can just find out who the law firm is that did it, right? Usually, that's who it is.
Is there a trick to find out which law firm is the right person to call for that deal? I know it's a hard question.
Yeah, that is a tough question. I mean, sometimes I'm just trying to think of how you would find them. What comes to mind, this is a long shot, man. I don't know if this would work. So the attorney that handles some of our stuff, is the resident agent on some of our deals.
Okay.
So if you think about it, in the last sale, sometimes it's public record usually, right? Depending on what state, if it's a disclosure state or not. You said Texas. Is this one in Texas, right?
Texas, yes, is non.
So it's not disclosure state. That's a problem, right? If it were a disclosure state, you can sometimes see where the sale happened and who actually did the sale, and then you might be able to figure out like it'll take some work.
Do a title search and find out who negotiated that last deal and.
That's another way you can find it actually right there is title search. So if you have any friends at the title company, do you deal with First American? Who's your title company?
I don't even know. I can't even tell you. I don't even do that. I don't even do the paperwork.
Yeah. So over at First American, for instance, like I only use national title companies for everything. Right. Mm-hmm. I have nothing against the smaller title companies. I don't hate them or anything else like that. It's because whenever we're dealing with an outside group, like say out of New Jersey, New York, California, whatever, I can't install one of my friends as a title agent because they never heard of them, right? But everyone knows First American, everyone knows Fidelity,
that is a gem right there.
Yeah, so that's one of the things is that you want to deal with a national, and typically the nationals, they have access to data that will tell you the transaction, who did what, and even who's a registered agent on that one. So that's how you'd find it out. So if you have any friends at First American or Fidelity or whatever, I don't know the name of their system, but both of them have that type of stuff. They can see basically any transaction that's ever happened in the United States, like right away. They can look it up. It's easy to do.
That was a gem right there because you always want to ease the process. So you want to work with people that actually do this every day. You don't want to work with your everyday title company. You don't want to work with the everyday broker. You don't want to work with the everyday property management company. All those are. I hope everybody's taking notes on that because that's what I'm understanding is the key. Is you want to use people that are actually in the business that do this every day because this is it seems like a vicious business, especially with all the Dollar General and those attorneys. Attorneys are the worst.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? It depends on the attorney. I mean, I bought a deal one time from this attorney was like a bulldog. Like she was treating us as buyers like we're stealing from her or something. It was the most bizarre experience. Not all attorneys are like that though, but some of them are bad. Yeah, that's true. And it's not bad because they're just bad individuals. They're just bad because some of them do the job. So finding the right attorney is certainly very, very helpful as well. But if anybody in the audience wants to know more about net lease, guide to netlease.com. Again, a great ebook that shows you how to get into generating wealth with net lease. So that's another free ebook there. Go ahead and check it out. It's great.
I had a commercial lender on a few episodes ago, and he was like, the lawyers and attorneys, they just hop into stuff to make sure they know that they're writing $1,000 check to that lawyer, so they want to make sure you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, and even then, making sure like there's certain things that I do on my PSAs, my purchase and sale agreements, that I add specifically, right? So making sure that your attorney goes through and adds those like your custom stuff, in air quotes here, your custom stuff.
Yep.
In the PSA is very, very, very important. And a good lawyer, a good attorney is going to know that. Oh yeah, Daniel wants to have these 5 points in here for sure. I got to make sure it's in there. So hopefully whoever you interview, and you should interview multiple attorneys, by the way.
Yep. That
they do a good job. It doesn't always have to be the biggest, baddest attorney from the top law firm. It's not. Usually I've used those guys on the buyer side. It was a terrible experience. I would never do it again. Terrible. So just because you pay them more money doesn't mean they're going to do a good job. The guy was totally clueless. I'm not going to say his name, but it wasn't fun. I'll never do that again. I deal with a smaller firm. Does an amazing job. He's a great guy.
That's amazing. A lot of people they think it gets easier as you get bigger into bigger asset classes. But I think with you as a fund, you doing bigger stuff, your attorney deck needs to be bigger because you need maybe different types of attorneys that do different specialty things.
Yeah,
like everybody, like your internal resource team that you count on grows a lot bigger because now you have a fund, you need fund attorneys and all that stuff. And now you're doing leases, you need a lease attorney to underwrite and add to all this other stuff. And then you probably need don't know if you had to sue anybody or anybody sue you. Not it happens, but you got like all these different like Rolodex real estate professionals.
Unfortunately, if you're in real estate, you probably will get sued at least once in your life. It's going to happen. It's unfortunate, but yeah, it will happen. It's going to happen. Oh yeah. I mean, that's why I have an army of attorneys, right? And I mean, aside from asset protection, making sure that, I mean, they could try. There's nothing in the LLC, so it's a colossal waste of money for everyone, but whatever, it's fine. But that's why asset protection is extremely important. Talking to a pro that knows how to do it, not someone who just dabbles in it, but a pro. There's a guy I had on the show, Coons, his last name Coons. I forget his first name is, but he talks a lot about asset protection. I had him on Bulletproof Cash Flow a while ago, right? So I think, what's his name?
Clint.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. So he talks a lot about asset protection and protecting your stuff. So in real estate, it's going to happen. It's unfortunate, but it will. It's going to happen to everybody. Sucks.
Have you hit the capital raise for your fund? Are you still raising capital?
Oh, yeah, no, we're raising capital. I mean, it's certainly sticky right now. It is. People are sitting on cash, or people just don't have the cash. That's the type of scenario that we're running into right now. The money's coming in a lot slower than it used to. And like I said before, we're owner financing a lot of these deals now, right? So we can still get a nice, reasonable rate. And, and the seller's happy, we're happy, investors are happy, it all works out, right? So, but it's one of those things that you just have to find the right deal to make sure that it works properly and get out there and try to get a bigger funnel with a good value proposition for the investor. That's what it is. You have to make more phone calls, a lot more phone calls to find those investors.
What type of pref are you offering in your fund?
Well, it varies. It depends on the I got to be careful. I can't really say too much because then I violate SEC rules and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you forgot about that. So I don't want to go to prison, man. But I will say that I think it's very reasonable. It's way more than what you get at the bank. I'll tell you that. Okay. So, and I think the big part of it is that it's also a monthly return. It's a monthly return. That's probably one of the biggest things is that it's a good, nice, decent return. Like I said, you're going to become a billionaire off of it. No, you won't. But you know what, though? If you're you're working family, and especially these days when you don't know what's happening in the market, you don't know if you're going to have a job tomorrow. A lot of uncertainty, right? If you can put enough money aside to buy a bunch of shares in a net lease deal and get that steady cash flow coming in rather than keeping it sitting at the bank, why wouldn't you do that deal? It makes total sense,
How are you raising capital as far as not necessarily maybe marketing, but how are you raising capital as a whole?
Sure. So the way we do it is of course, first it all starts with outreach, right? We do heavy social media presence. We're doing the podcast. You mentioned our show earlier. We've been at the podcast game for about 5 years now. So we're a known entity. We've been doing this for quite a bit. We have a lot of downloads, a lot of clients, a lot of reach, right? But it took some doing. We've done over 700. We have well over 700 videos on YouTube alone, right? Just in a variety of different things, right? So part of it is we have credibility. So whenever someone does reach out to us and asks us questions about what we're doing, we can. That's usually the first step. Is we'll get a lot of inbound, believe it or not. We do get some outbound in certain markets. We have a sales staff in New Jersey and New York. That's where the money is. So we do some of that stuff through events as well. Through just local events, that kind of thing. But I would say that a lot of people just hear about our funds and they call us. A lot of inbound.
I like that you're doing local events. I never thought about that. I think those are very underrated because I remember when I was in high school, I volunteered at a charity event for politics or something. I forget when it was, but yeah, charity event. That's probably a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah, well, I wasn't even thinking charity event, but those
like same framework.
Yeah, you could do that, especially in your neck of the woods. We're in California, are you?
Southern California.
So like LA or something, right?
I live close to San Diego.
Okay, that's perfect. San Diego's got a lot of money. So your superpower being there is that there's a lot of money that wants to escape from all the California nonsense, right?
Yep.
So by putting together local events that talks about real estate and preserving wealth, especially preserving wealth from all the crazy taxes, everybody's all about that over there. So the way you do it, of course, is in real estate. So you can get a lot of good qualified individuals that will show up to those events, as opposed to a place like Kansas City. Kansas City doesn't have the same level of prosperity, for instance, that San Diego does. I'm not saying anything bad about Kansas City. It just doesn't, because in San Diego, a lot of developers, a lot of tech, a lot of IT workers, a lot of finance guys over there too. They're earning a lot of money. In a smaller market, like say Kansas City, not as much. You can still do events there, but when it comes to raising money in a big market like that, for sure. New York, for sure. Same sort of deal, right? Especially when there's a big value prop of getting away from all the crazy taxes and some of the onerous tenant laws that protect them. Nobody wants to deal with that, man. Nobody wants to deal with that. It's ridiculous.
Amazing tip. I'm gonna have to dig in on that one. I appreciate you giving me that information. One thing I really want to dig in on is 5 years in the podcast. I think a lot of people, they want instant gratification. They want instant success now. They want success after 50 episodes. And I think one thing that 5 years in the game, you're almost at 400 episodes. I think that's consistency all around. And now you're getting inbound lead flow, which is amazing. That's the best part about podcasting and being publicly framed. What advice would you give somebody to maybe that wants to start a podcast, or maybe they're 10 episodes in, and do a plug to your podcast as well?
This is going to sound terrible.
Okay.
Believe it or not, this is going to sound awful.
Hey.
But I will say this. All right. If you prioritize the guest to deliver value to your audience, okay, two things will happen. Number one, you'll deliver value to the audience, which is the point of the podcast. But number two, you get to make a new friend.
Yep.
Ultimately, your job of either a guest or the host of a show is to make a new friend. You want to make a new friend. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I've been on a podcast one time. The guy, I don't know what was wrong with the dude. He was all pissed off about something, and
he took it out.
Let's hurry up. Let's get started right now. I'm like, whoa, okay. We went through all the questions. All right, bye. Clicks, gone. Like, never talk to him again. So
never will either.
I won't. Yeah, I probably won't. I don't even remember his name, right? But it's like it's fine. That's okay. That is not the point.
Yeah.
That interaction is not the point of doing a show, right? I'm sure I delivered value to the individual. Yes, I always do, right? Because I strive to do it, right?
Yeah.
But the point of doing these podcasts is to create a new connection, a new relationship with someone that you may or may not work with, right? Always do the follow-up, try to stay connected. Don't just, don't add them to some freaking list and with some other bullshit. Tell them, like, here's how I can help you. Like in your case, your superpower is you have access to boatloads of money because of where you're at, right? The cool thing is that in a place like here, even like Cleveland, we have deals here, but the access to that type of capital doesn't exist, right? So who's to say that you and I couldn't partner up one day? You can get your hands on massive amounts of capital, and a lot of those folks over there want to invest in places like this because it's way easier to invest in a place like Cleveland than it is to invest in California.
They need that bridge. Who's that bridge person that's going to connect them?
Right. So you're helping the investors make money. You're helping them secure their money and put it into a piece of real estate that is a good deal, and of course, we win too because we're now friends and we help the investors. Everybody's happy, and we create jobs here and we here in Cleveland, of course, we create housing for people. Everybody wins. It works out very, very well. But the whole point of doing this it is a little selfish to think about it, right?
Yeah.
My whole thing is like, I want to make new friends. That's ultimately what it is. So I prioritize that. That's how I was able to get through all those terrible times of when we're getting it started. It's like, it sucked, man. and the thing is, though, if anybody listens to any of our shows, any of the shows, I don't run ads. I don't do any sponsorships. I don't do any of that stuff in my emails. All of it, I funded out of my own pocket. Every single one, all of it, right? All the YouTube, all the any type of stream anybody sees, we've paid for the whole thing, all of it. Years in the making here. So very different than what some of the other guys do. You know, could we do it? Yeah, I suppose. Would we do it in the future? I don't know. Maybe. I haven't really thought about it all that much, honestly. But you know what, though? It's like I wanted to have a direct conversation with the guest and with my audience. That's why I removed those barriers.
Can you attribute some or all of your success to the podcast?
Oh yeah, I pretty much all of it. Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. I'm very pro podcasting, and I tell people, like, it'll change your life, and you don't even understand how it will change your life. You just got to do it for long enough that it will. Yeah. And you don't know the extent of it yet, but you'll find out on the way. So I always commend people, and this is my, I guess my little tidbit to you is that I want to thank you for coming on, and thank you for contributing, and thank you for creating, because a lot of people, most people out there in the world consume, and you as a creator make a difference.
Yeah,
so,
thanks.
So that's my tidbit to you. But a lot of people, and like I said, 400 episodes in is not something to be taken lightly, and I know it takes a lot of work. I mean, I'm here today, you know. we're both here today for a reason, you know, and everybody here is able to contribute and appreciate that information. But there's a lot of effort that goes into it behind the scenes.
Man, it is a ton of work. But you know what, though? The relationships I forged doing the whole podcast thing, it changed my life, you know. So, I mean, certainly not just because I was able to make new relationships with new friends. Yes, that was a big part of it. I also get to learn from experts, right? Because on our show, we don't just interview anybody, right? Like other guys in our space. Not that I'm not speaking bad about anybody.
This is your show. It's your show, your production. You run the show.
Yeah, but it's more like I don't interview some guy that has a duplex. I have nothing against Joe with his duplex. I have nothing against him, right? Yeah. It's okay. But I want to talk to the folks that have done a lot of deals, big deals, and then to help other people on the come up what they need to do, leveraging their experience, right? Because I don't know what you can learn from someone who hasn't done that many transactions versus someone who's done a lot of transactions. I've done a lot of transactions, right? I've done a lot, and I have a lot to offer somebody, right? That's just me, you know? And I want to try to deliver the maximum amount of value I possibly can to anybody listening. That's really what it comes down to, you know? And that's why I do it that way, you know? So, yeah, man, I mean, that's a big deal for me. I try to deliver value first in everything I do. You know,
you still haven't plugged the show. Where can people find the show? What's it called?
Oh, yeah. Bulletproof Cash Flow. That's what it's called. Bulletproof Cash Flow. Like I said, we're in anywhere that you listen to podcasts. We're there. You know, we're on Amazon. We're on iTunes. We're everywhere, right? YouTube, of course. If you want to watch video, that's great too. Where else do we do it? On Apple Music, Google.
You're all the above.
Yeah, but if you just Google, or if you just go to bulletproofcashflow.com, you get all the links. You can see everything there. You can also get access to our we have two masterminds. One that helps people get into small multifamily, the multifamily accelerator, and one that helps people get into big multifamily. If you want to syndicate your own deals, actually that's multifamily accelerator. Multifamily advantage is for small deals, right? So those are the two things that we help people get into the multifamily game if they really want to do it the right way.
Well, this is podcast host. What has been your two favorite guests / episodes?
Oh, wow, man. I had one guy named Ben Hardy on. Ben Hardy. He was a New York Times bestselling author. A personality isn't permanent is what it was called, right? And we talked about the personality of, changing your personality so you could be a successful entrepreneur, right? So he's, the guy's famous. You should check that one out. It's really, really good. There's one I guested on, which I thought was hilarious. Wrestling with Real Estate is what it's called, right? And it doesn't even have that many views, honestly. It's not like the show itself did it's only because it's on the podcast guy. He's a really cool dude, really nice guy. He's been at it for a while, but he's doing his own thing. Like he's doing this as a part-time type scenario. Yeah. That's what I guessed it on, and I thought that it was freaking hilarious. I thought it was a great show, right? So a lot of information there. So the first one was as a host, the second one was as a guest. So that is really good. If you look up wrestling with real estate, I think is the name of the show. I forget his name now. Oh, I forget the host's name. Oh my god, I see his face. I forget his name.
No, that's good. It's good because like I think there's us as guests and hosts. We always have a lot of underrated episodes that you like. Man, that was a good episode, and then it doesn't blow up or whatever. It might be an older episode that you released 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it's just like it kind of gets forgotten about. But like, man, that was a good episode.
Well, I'll tell you what. There was another one with Ryan Narus, Narus, and he talks about mobile home parks.
Okay.
And I mean, it was a great interview, and Ryan back then was just starting. He was on the come up when it came to that type of asset class, right? And back then on Bulletproof Cash Flow, we were exploring not just multifamily. We're looking at mobile home parks. We look at land to some degree. We would look at what else, like other types of assets aside from multifamily. It was mostly multifamily, right? Like it is today, I suppose. But that episode was not only a good episode, it was very, very popular, very popular. So yeah, if anybody wants to know about mobile home parks, just look up Bulletproof Cash Flow mobile home parks. You'll find it. You'll find that episode. Did quite well.
What is a quote that is yours or somebody else's that you resonate with?
I'll tell you what. It's actually my quote. Without integrity, you have nothing.
There you go.
So it's and you see it in action, especially these days. It's times are tough for everyone, especially with syndicators. And you'll know the true measure of a syndicator when you send them an email. And if they send you a reply, whether it's good news or bad news, at least they've replied. They're very transparent about what's going on, right? Then you have the other guys that just hide underneath their desk, right? So I mean, right now times are tough, right? Yeah. So it takes integrity to face up what you have to do, and integrity also to make it through the hard times, because that's where we are right now. Hard times for everybody, right? I'm very fortunate that we bought our deals right. We bought the deals at a very reasonable cost basis. We didn't get stupid with our deals. We don't do stupid deals, right? We just don't do those. So I'm very lucky that we built good, solid relationships with not only our investors, but also with the brokers, with the lenders, everybody else involved too, with all the stakeholders. So yeah, it's integrity. That's what people are buying into. They're buying into your integrity.
Ooh. That's a tweet. They buy into your tech. Where can people find you online? I got bulletproofcashflow.com. Where else can people find you online? And I really
I'm on LinkedIn. Just under my name, Agostino Pintus. I'm on Twitter too. I'm not as active as I want to be on Twitter, right? But it's mostly just me sharing knowledge, sharing quotes, things I've heard. Facebook, of course. But yeah, I'd say like LinkedIn and Facebook is probably the two best places to get me, or IG, of course. Instagram. Yeah.
There you go. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the show. I think we definitely covered a lot of different things, and hopefully some people get some value. They definitely will get some value. Not that we hope they will. But
geez, I hope so.
So thanks for coming on, Agostino.
You bet.
All right, for everybody here, go like, share, subscribe. You know what to do. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great day.
Hey guys, so the Hive Mind is launching a new program where we're helping you work deals that are valued at $1 million and up. If your deal is worth $980,000, we don't want to take a look at it. You can submit those deals to us at submitbigland.com, and we'll help you comp the deals. If it's good, we'll help you close it, and we'll also help you fund it and sell it. Check us out, submitbigland.com, milliondollarmastermind.com, and wholesaling $1 million land deals on Facebook. Thanks, guys.